Hey guys, it's Lauren, and today's tutorial is going to be on how to do moving borders and flashing borders. Primarily, I'm going to walk you through the two types of moving borders, which are horizontal and vertical, and then we'll go into the flashes. Let's get right into it. So first, I'm going to show you how to execute these moving horizontal borders. For this, I just created a slide left transition. I'm not going to walk you through this part because it's pretty simple, but after you've created your transition, highlight both of your clips, right-click on one of them, and click on Pre-Compose, and make sure you're clicked on this circle and this square. Then in Effects and Presets, look up Motion Tile, and add that to your clip. So you want to drag your time indicator to where your first clip just starts sliding left, and add a keyframe for output height. Keep it at 100. Then drag your time indicator to the very first frame of your second clip, and there are many different values you can use for this, but I like to do around 60. You can always decrease this number to make the borders thicker, or increase it to make them thinner. Again, I just like a value of 60. Then just drag your time indicator towards the end of the clip, and bring the output height back to 100. Click U on your keyboard to view your keyframes, highlight them, right-click on one of them, then go to Keyframe Assistant and click on Easy Ease. Then go to your graph editor. So when I'm doing moving borders, I always like to use Speed Graph, so if your graph doesn't look like mine, then click here and make sure you're clicked on Speed Graph. For this first curve, I'm going to push it to the right, and for this second curve, I'm going to push it to the left. However, we don't want to push it all the way to the right or all the way to the left because then it'll go too fast. We kind of want there to still be a curve, so just follow my graph. And this is what it should look like. So next we're going to do the vertical borders. For this, I just created a simple slide down transition, and again, I'm not going to walk you through this part, but after you've created your transition, just pre-compose your two clips together. And again, you're going to look up Motion Tile and Effects and Presets and add that to your clip. So we're essentially going to follow the exact same steps as the horizontal borders, but this time instead of manipulating our height values, we're going to manipulate the width values. So again, drag your time indicator to when your first clip starts sliding down and add a keyframe for output width, keep it at 100, then drag your time indicator to the very first frame of your second clip and decrease this to around 60, then drag your time indicator towards the end of the clip and bring this back to 100. Hit U to view your keyframes and Easy Ease them. Then go to your graph editor and follow the exact same graph that we did before where you're moving it to the right and left, but you still want there to kind of be a soft curve. And this is what it should look like. Next, we have these pretty popular moving horizontal borders with zoom out transitions. So for this, I just have 3 clips that are zooming out. Again, I'm not going to walk you through this part, but I've already pre-composed them all together. So after you've pre-composed them, just like last time, look up Motion Tile and Effects and Presets, and add that to your clip. At the very beginning, add a keyframe for output height and keep it at 100, then hit O on your keyboard to go to the end of the clip, and again, I'm going to bring this to 60. Hit U on your keyboard to view your keyframes and Easy Ease them. However, we don't have to worry about graphs. And this is what it should look like. So now we're going to move on to these really cool flashing borders. These are typically done with your traditional horizontal border, which is how I'll be executing them, but you can always use these with vertical borders. So primarily just have your pre-composed clip on the timeline with no borders or anything, and again we're just going to look up Motion Tile and Effects and Presets. Add that to the clip. Then we're not going to add any keyframes or anything, we're just going to change the output height to around 80. So we just have normal traditional borders. Now go up to Layer, New, Solid, and whatever color you want the flash to be should be the color of your solid layer. I like to do white because it's very bright and noticeable, but again, you can do whatever color you want. Then just drag the solid layer to be below your pre-composed layer with your clips. So now drag your time indicator to the very first frame of your second clip, then hit Shift-Command-D on your keyboard to split the solid layer, and delete the first segment. Then drag your time indicator towards the end of the clip, and again click on your solid layer and hit Shift-Command-D to split it, and just delete the excess. So essentially your solid layer should last throughout the duration of your second clip. Now click on the solid layer and hit T on your keyboard to go to opacity. At the very beginning, add a keyframe, and this value essentially determines how bright your flash is. 100% is a little bit too strong for me, so I like to do around 80. Then drag your time indicator towards the end of the solid layer, and then bring the opacity to 0. Then Easy Ease your keyframes, and go to your graph editor. So for this graph, we're just gonna push it to the left, but not all the way to the left because we still want there to be a little bit of a curve. So just follow my graph. And this is what a simple flash should look like. However, there are many more creative flashes that we can do. So first we have both vertical and horizontal half screen flashes. I'm gonna start off with the vertical ones. So primarily you just want to have your borders and the simple flash that we just did, and you just want to click on your solid layer and hit Command D to duplicate it. Drag this duplicate so it starts at the halfway point of the first solid layer, and then use Shift Command D to trim off the excess. So for your first solid layer, just drag it so it's on one side of the screen. I'm choosing the left side. Then for your second solid layer, just drag it so it's on the opposite side of the screen. And this is what it should look like. Now for the horizontal borders, you want the same setup where you have the two solid layers and they're arranged like this. But this time, instead of dragging the solids left and right, we're gonna drag them up and down. So for your first solid, just drag it up or down a little bit. And then for your second solid, just drag it in the opposite direction. And this is what it should look like. Lastly, we have these vertical and horizontal expansions. I'm just gonna start off with the vertical expansion. So just like last time, you wanna start with your borders and your simple flash. And if you haven't already, make sure to enable motion blur in your composition and enable it on your solid layer. So you want to click on the solid layer and hit S on your keyboard to go to scale. Then click on this little chain to separate these two scale values. At the very beginning of the layer, add a keyframe for scale and decrease this first value to around 20. Then drag your time indicator towards the end of the layer and bring this back to 100. Easy as your keyframes. And just follow my graph. And this is what it should look like. Now we're gonna do the horizontal expand. Same thing as last time, we're gonna start off with our borders and our simple flash, and you're gonna enable your motion blur. Click on the solid layer and hit S on your keyboard to go to scale. At the very beginning, add a keyframe, and this time we're gonna manipulate this second value. However, since we have horizontal borders, we can't start with a value like 20. Instead, make this second value around 80%. Then drag your time indicator towards the end of the clip, just like last time, and bring this back to 100. Easy as your keyframes. And we're gonna replicate the exact same graph as last time. And this is what it should look like. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I encourage you to try out these borders because they're really fun and are a really nice touch to your edits. Bye!